And hello, everyone. Lone Wolf here. Producer, do I have any audio up there going on the dial? Huh? Oh, that's good. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, tonight who is showing up tonight and for sharing the show and liking the show. We do need those shares as much as possible. We will have a subscription. Probably in 3 months, we'll go to a subscription part of the channel, and I'll give you some exclusive shows once a week that you cannot get anywhere else without a subscription. That's going to be pretty cool. A lot of inside information into some of the projects and programs and special events and things that we're doing with other folks around the country, around the world. And of course, on this side of the channel, we'll keep it cool and exciting as always and powerful news people can use. Uh, I've got a little cold going on tonight. Sorry, my throat is really scratchy. Last night, we started to move into an area talking about conspiracy theories. And, I've never even looked it up, believe it or not, as smart as I think I am sometimes. I've never even really looked it up, the actual word conspiracy, but it's always had a left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, there's so many things, and I can't even count them tonight, and probably AI couldn't either. So many things have been called a conspiracy that are now just pure fact right in front of our eyes and right under our nose, fact and normalized so much that wouldn't know it any differently. And so that should tell you something, those of you who have those brain cells to rub together, that should tell you something about what kind of information are we getting and where is it coming from and how did it originate? And have we dug down deep below the surface to look into that rabbit hole to see what's down there and to see who's down there and to see how long they've been down there? A good example last night I was bringing up chemtrails. Uh, and again, I want to reiterate, I've spoken to, I don't know, probably 150 people over the last 3 months. That would be an unscientific number. And I've actually directly looked up at the sky and said, boy, look at those chemtrails. And maybe three people, four out of 150 or so knew what I was talking about. Everybody else just had this really dumb look on their face that they mostly always do have. I've talked to people at the store about the forever chemicals. I have a habit of just talking to everyone in the store, including the cashiers and the greeters at Walmart and the stock people and the produce section people and the manager of the store, the assistant manager of the store, security in the parking lot or in the store. And I asked a lot of questions, and especially forever chemicals came up a lot in those 150 that I speculated that I talked to. And nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. Literally nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. And they're drowning in these damn forever chemicals every single second of every single day. Their children are drowning, literally being poisoned in a very light way, not so dramatic as they're going to be off tomorrow, but yeah, very dramatic ways. Long-term illnesses and health effects are taking place. Forever chemicals, they're in every single thing you touch, taste, drink. Uh, they're in the air. They're in all of your furniture in your house. They're in every product and material and piece of equipment that you have. There's a forever chemical in there somewhere, like Teflon, for instance, which they've come out with a lot of negative press on Teflon now, saying that it gets into your blood and stays in your blood. And, so forever chemicals and chemtrails and then mind control. You know, I talk to people about mind control and they look at me and laugh. They just look at me and scoff, or they laugh, or they walk away or run away. And then I bring up the United States patents on brain control, mind control technologies, and people look at it and they're like, I don't understand. This isn't happening here. This isn't happening, at all. This is just something, 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 something. They make up something to avoid talking about the actual fact that the deep state can now, and through the black budget, off books budget, can control people's thoughts through direct energy weapons and through microwave technologies and through the Gwen Tower technologies and through other technologies that are much, much more advanced than I've ever talked about on this talk show. Uh, we're living in this sci-fi crazy world. I mean, we're living in a world that would downplay what George Orwell was trying to talk about in his book 1984. I mean, things have progressed so far beyond what George Orwell envisioned that it's unbelievable. And we don't have those glasses yet that can make us see zombies or whatever else was going on there. And the movie, whatever that movie was, I can't remember the name of it, but uh, the surveillance, the police state, is well established. The deep state, dark state, is well established. The left is well established. The socialist, fascist, leftist are well established, doing everything they possibly can to destroy the country as well as the Constitution that this country was founded on. Supposedly, now I could be wrong. Maybe some of you have a different opinion. And the Bill of Rights. Every country, every people need guidance, need some kind of pathway to walk. They need some instruction here and there to not fall off the proverbial metaphorical cliff and kill themselves. We do need strong, strong leaders. I don't even know what that means anymore. To have a strong leader, I don't even know what that means anymore. I don't know where these people are. I have no idea where these people are. These strong leaders. I can't name any right now. I knew that the former coach of the Dallas Cowboys, when Troy Aikman was playing, my old buddy there, I can't remember his name, I'm losing it. Anyway, he was a strong leader. The coach for the Dallas Cowboys when Aikman was playing. And he was a very, 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 very strong leader. And he's one of the very few people that I can imagine. If you ask me if Tony Robbins was a strong leader, I would just laugh in your face. I would literally laugh in your face and probably have to go behind the building and vomit. Because no, Tony Robbins is he's a fake. He's a complete ignoramus. He's an imbecile. He's just a big giant Frankenstein. I mean, the guy has made his money conning people and being so cunning and manipulative and coercive with people. And he's developed this false persona that he's some kind of entrepreneurial god or something when in fact he's not. And not everyone is able to sit down with Mr. Robbins anyway. I heard that he charges $10,000 an hour just to sit down with him. It could be more than that. And I heard before he gets up, after talking to you and conning his way in and cunning his way in, and manipulating his way in and extorting his way in, that he charges, he asks you for a percentage, major percentage of your company or shares in your company. So I don't like this guy at all. I don't like him. I prefer Psycho Cybernetics, somebody like that, more than I do Tony Robbins. When it comes to the power of positive thinking, Norman Vincent Peale was a leader. Norman Vincent Peale was a true leader. Tom Landry was a true leader. That's my coach of the Dallas Cowboys back when I worked for the Cowboys. But yeah, there are a few out there. These days, not so much. These days, it's all about profit. It's all about profit and power. It's all about control, control, control. It's all about domination. It's all about taxation. It's all about extortion and fraud and lying and cheating, thieving. You know, And this is the way these corporations run today. I mean, if you would have told my dad or a few other people many, 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 many years ago that there would be a man named Larry Fink that would own one of the largest corporations in the world and manage more assets than most countries have, he would have said you were nuts, completely crazy. This is more than a monopoly, which the government was supposed to come in and break up the monopolies. Well, that didn't go over too well, did it? I mean, look at BlackRock, look at Blackstone, look at the history of Blackstone, look at the history of BlackRock, look at the history of Larry Fink and what he wants to do and what he's involved in. Try going down that rabbit hole. Whitney Webb, if you want to really, really find out what's going on in the corporate world of takeover concerning central banking, digital currencies, and central banks, and the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor does it have anything in reserve, and fractional banking and surveillance and CBDC and RIFD chips that will soon be coming out and have been coming out and have been out for years and years and years and years and years will be a normal thing within the next 5 years. And it is just amazing how many corporations and businesses that BlackRock has their hand in. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of corporations and companies and entities. You know, Larry Fink is over there holding trillions in assets. Well, they hold more assets, like I said, than three or four country GDPs put together. So it's amazing how we've just let all of these things happen without any forethought. We've let all of these things happen in the night while we sleep. These people never sleep. AI never sleeps. Artificial intelligence is always awake. It never tires. It never gets sick. It never has to go home. It never has to go to the hospital or emergency room or call an ambulance or take time off for birthing or something else. And it is powerful, my friends. Artificial intelligence is running the globe, it's running the world, it's running the universe right now. It's controlling all of the satellites that are positioned very cyclically around the planet as we speak. And it is just amazing that these computers can process quintillions of information, quintillion bits of information per second. So when people say, "Well, when is general intelligence going to come?" Well, it's already past us long ago. When is super intelligence going to come? We're already, neck deep, drowning in super intelligence, and it's only going to get worse. They're going to have to come up with a new word for all of this progress and all of this scaling up. They're going to have to start calling it super duper 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 intelligence or hyper super intelligence or whatever, because this words that we're using are already antiquated and worn out. They're already antiquated. They're already on the shelf at the thrift store. uh, these computers are running your daily life, your night life, your day life, your work life, your recreational life, your vacation life, your kids lives, grandma and grandpa, and nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles, aunts, your extended family, your acquaintances, your coworkers. I mean, you're all immersed in this one big, insane AI collective that is controlling all of your moods and methods and methodologies and attitude and behavior. It's controlling your total persona. The totality of your being is being controlled. And then, of course, I wanted to bring up tonight before we go off about fast food. We've talked about this before, but the people I talk to now are so normalized with all of this. They're so desensitized to any new information coming in. They're so cognitively dissonant. They don't even get it when you tell them, that the grocery store, you're walking into a vault of just sheer poison when you walk into this dang There should be, Dr. Death should be standing at the end of aisle 1 through 24, welcoming you into the poison vault. All of these products are poison, 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 poison. Find me one product in a store. Find me 25 products in a store that are not poison in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and I'll give you $1,000 cash. It's you can't. You simply can't. You simply can't. It is impossible. Somebody said the other day, "Well, my grandma grows her tomatoes out in the garden, and they don't have GMOs." And I said, "Well, what kind of seeds is she using, or what kind of plants is she using?" "Well, I don't know, but they look pretty." I said, "Well, they might look pretty, but they're GMO. I can guarantee you they're GMO. They're genetically modified, fruits and vegetables, whatever." And, then she was saying something about the soil is so good. And I said, no, the soil can be good because the chemtrails are raining down selenium and barium and strontium and cesium and nanoparticulates and aluminum oxide and barium and all this other stuff, and nanoparticulates. And she's like, what is all that? What are you talking about? And I'm like, just go study, go to your room. Go study. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all this stuff. You should have learned this in junior high, but unfortunately, with the public schools, and unfortunately with Bernays, we got these children into these prisons. They call public schools. We Edward Bernays, created the public school prison system as we have today to get all of these little uh, soon to be juvenile delinquents off the street and out of their parents' hair and put them in these prisons we call public schools and train them to memorize things that are completely irrelevant to their future and learn things that they will never need to know and study things that are wrong, such as history. They never really learn how to balance a checkbook. They never really learn how the creation of money happens. They don't learn anything about, skills and talents and what might be able to help them in the world today as it is, except for AI, 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 AI. Everybody's like, oh, go take AI courses. Go take AI courses. Well, I disagree. There's a lot of things out there we'll talk about maybe tomorrow night. We'll talk about a lot of different skills and talents and experiences that one might have or one might need to pick up to be able to make it in the next 10 years, if the world even turns for the next 10 years, or if the simulation is still around or the matrix is still functioning. There are a lot of skills that one needs to take on to be able to make it through this very complex matrix that we're all trying to navigate. Uh, Everybody says AI, AI, AI. I mean, look at the job projections. Look at the lost job projections. How many people are going to lose their jobs over the next 10 years? 70 million, 80 million. I mean, look, folks, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and don't tell me for every job is lost, there'll be three created. That is the most bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. There just simply won't be any jobs, okay? And people are going to get lazy, and people are going to get more stupid and more ignorant and dumber and dumb and dumber, and they're going to just not, they're just not going to have a brain, okay? They're not going to have three brain cells to rub together with all of the forever chemicals and chemtrails and the mind control and the police state surveillance and all of the other insane, chaotic, dystopic, dysfunctional stuff that's happening. So they're not even going to be job ready. Even if there was a job for them, it would have to be stuffing boxes full of light bulbs over there at Salvation Army or something in one of their work programs. And we don't even use those light bulbs anymore. So I don't know. They might be stuffing some other kind of LED into the packages. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know they're going to need universal basic income. And they are talking about, I mean, BlackRock is talking about universal basic income. The World Economic Forum is talking about basic income. It was a topic at Davos this year and last year. The World Economic Forum, as well as the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations, the Federal Reserve, and the World Monetary Fund is considering and talking about and actually setting up for right now behind closed doors universal basic income where everybody will get a check. They'll just get a check for 1,400 a month or whatever, 2,200 a month, whatever it's going to be due to inflation. Do the math. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Japan turning in all of its treasury bonds, $1.8 trillion worth of treasury bonds. They're just getting rid of them. They don't want to hold them anymore. It looks more and more and more like they're turning against the petrodollar, like China has, Russia has, and Iran has, and so many other countries are turning against the petrodollar. We're in severe trouble right now here in the United States. I would call this a techno depression, is what I would call this, a techno depression, or maybe a pseudo depression. It doesn't look like a depression, it's an illusion. It doesn't look like a depression necessarily on the streets. We don't see soup lines and all those kinds of things that we saw back in the depression, the early 30s. I think it was 30s or 20s, wherever it was back there. World War II, and even World War One, post World War One, we had severe poverty after World War II, and people were getting back in the job market. People were coming home. Women were beginning to work and get into the workforce. There was a lot of child labor going on, but we are in severe trouble here in the United States with our dollar. Our dollar is dying fast. I mean, literally dying fast. Nobody wants it anymore. Nobody wants the dollar anymore, the petrodollar anymore. And of course, as you know, that was the deal with Japan and China, many other countries, to use the petrodollar, the petrodollar, the petrodollar. Dubai, Saudi Arabia. They're just saying fed up. They're fed up. They're fed up with it. They don't want the petrodollar. They don't need the petrodollar. They can trade in their own currencies. And that's exactly what they're doing. Look at BRICS. More countries are coming into BRICS. They're trading with their own currencies, and they're doing just fine without the petrodollar. And this is really creating a dangerous situation for the United States economy. And it's starting to show up right now. If you do the math, it's starting to show up on Wall Street. It's starting to show up on the NASDAQ. And we're going to have to watch this very closely, very carefully. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it, but it is a downward spin that's not going to pick back up again. We're not going to go back in favorable conditions at all. We're going to go down, 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 bang, we're gone. And then we're going to have to start resorting to a complete different kind of culture, as we will with artificial intelligence and other technologies that are upon us right now. We talked a little bit about Flock Nova last night, the surveillance system, the PRISM that Edward Snowden wrote, the program PRISM, another surveillance system with Flock Nova. We talked about Palantir. We talked about some of these others that are very, very intrusive, if you will, and just smother you everywhere you go. There is no privacy. We talked about the phones the other night being on all the time, recording your position in space time. And we talked about your smart TV taking 1,000 pictures every second of your screen to see what you're hitting, what you're playing, what you're purchasing, what you're watching, what you're buying, everything. And plus, they can see into your living room if they want to. With that, the smart toaster, the smart refrigerator, the smart toilet, the smart sewer system, the smart meter, they've pretty much got everything covered, including the smart Wi-Fi, where they can now use Wi-Fi to tap into your home and X-ray it and see everybody in there. So we'll be talking about this and a whole lot more for the truckers. I'm going to have a special edition coming up for the 18 wheelers out there on the road, keeping our economy running, keeping the wheels turning, or we would all be starving to death, and we would all be living in the 17th century if it wasn't for our wonderful people out there driving our trucks and carrying our supplies and materials and equipment around the United States and around the world for that matter. So I want to thank all of you for being on tonight. And you guys share the show, please. Like the show. And if you'd like to be interviewed or get an interview or interview me, just email Marion and she'll put the email in right now. She's going to type that in for you right now as soon as she gets off of TikTok and Wickwalk and the Ducky Wucky game she's playing, um, or whatever she's doing up there. But anyway, Marion has worked very hard, and we got some stuff coming out I want you all to see in a couple of months. She has worked so hard building our new station, and we're talking around the clock work, and we're talking Wonderful, wonderful work. Beautiful, beautiful work that she's done. Just unbelievable. I knew she could do it. She's done it before, and here she is now, all energetic and ready to rock and roll and get this thing moving. And for a change, maybe we can actually monetize. Maybe we deserve a few bucks in the bank, the piggy bank. Anyway, I would use a real bank, but the piggy bank, or bury it out in the pasture somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to say is I talked, listening to a survivalist the other night, and he said something very interesting. He said if we have a grid down situation, he said if we, excuse me, we have a grid down situation. He said if we have a major, major situation where martial law, comes down by executive order, via executive order, or a grid down situation, or a cyber attack, and the United States infrastructure just goes out, he said, buy 1,000 lighters. Forget about gold. Forget about silver. Forget about any other precious metal, diamonds. Forget it. You can't eat it and you can't drink it. But he said, Bic lighters will carry you through the whole time you're out there in the jungle, the urban jungle. Think about that. And I'll put a video up on the website about that. It's pretty interesting. It's interesting enough to put it on the website. So until tomorrow night, you guys take care. And girls, guys, girls, whatever you are, whatever you call yourself, whatever you want to be is fine with me. So take care. Lone Wolf, I'm out.